Now there's some MSEGs that you can only get to in the grid view. For example, the ScrawlOscillatorMSEG, which allows you to draw in shapes for an oscillator sound. Now to get to the grid, you need to create a polygrid instrument. So I've already done that here, but let me just quickly show you how it's done. So I'm going to click on the plus sign, make sure I've got the instrument selected. I can type grid, and then I need to add an instance of the polygrid instrument. And then from there, I can click on this view to open up the grid area. Now I've already done that, so I'm just going to remove this instrument, and I've got my polygrid instrument here, which is playing back some notes. And also just make sure that when you're playing your instrument, just make sure that you've got it set to multiple voices, because if you create a new grid instrument, by default, it's only playing one voice, and you can increase the amount of voices. So on this polygrid, if I click over here, it opens up the grid view where you've got your modular environment where you can connect modules together. So for this instrument, it's got the union oscillator, which is an oscillator with 3 different waveforms going into an ADSR envelope and into an audio output. Now, if I want to add something in between, for example, let's say I want to add this SVR filter, what I can do is disconnect this line over here so it's not connected, move this over, pull this filter in, connect the two together. So the oscillator is going to the filter, and then the filter is going to the envelope. So now I can add a filter onto the sound. But what I want to show you is the new scroll oscillator over here, which allows you to incorporate the curves to draw in an oscillator waveform shape for your instrument. So I'm going to replace the union, and now we've got this. And this is generating an oscillator sound from this curve shape over here. I could, for example, click here, as you've seen, and choose different curve shapes. Let's stick with that. As I select it, you see I've got a different curve that's going into the filter and the envelope and generating the sound. And just to see what sound is being generated, let me go to the displays and add a spectrometer over here. And I can take the output of this oscillator into here. And I can see the wave shape that's being generated, but that's not taking into account the filter. So I'm just going to undo that. And I've got my filter going into my envelope. And what I'm going to do is take the output from here and just go into here, and I can see the wave shape that's being generated. If I pull back on the filter, you can see that's cutting off the low frequencies. So let's just have a bit of filter and then change some of the shapes. So I can go in and use the usual suspects that I've shown you with the curves, where you can actually go in, increase the size, and draw in your own custom curves. And then changing the resolution of the grid and using some of these tools and just drawing in other shapes. Down over here, I can change the octave relation with the pitch. So that's going to a deeper pitch. And what I really like is this stereo detuning here. Obviously, if I select this and go to show help, you can see more detailed description on the parameters. But with this stereo detune, take a listen here. I'm going to drag this up. And just a slight amount gives us a nice widening sound to it. So going back here and adding it in. So a very powerful feature. Going in there and having the ability to draw in your own wave shapes gives you a lot of flexibility on creating your own synth sounds. So that's how the MSEG scroll is incorporated into the grid view.